I like the fact that people want to achieve what I've achieved and believe they can. It's given belief in that someone local can go and do, from this town, can go and do big things and keep their integrity and be a good person. Especially now as a father, is what I think about the most. I just think about trying to be the man I want my son to be.
I'm Ollie Hall-Green, and I'm the founder and host of Shapes of Resilience. In this podcast, we explore the raw, unfiltered stories of those who refused to give up, turning adversity into strength, setbacks into lessons, and pain into purpose. This podcast discusses sensitive topics including trauma, suicide, loss, mental health, and illnesses. Some conversations may be distressing, so please take care whilst listening. Through these inspiring stories, we can learn and find resilience in our own lives every single day. So let's dive in. Okay, welcome again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, mate. We're here.
We're building resilience.
We are indeed.
Speak.
A little bit of technical difficulties at our last location, but
and I've had it all the way through my podcast. But the main thing is that you've been kind enough to make some arrangements last minute, and we've made it happen, which means the world to me, mate.
That's all right. No, you've travelled a long way, so I appreciate your time.
No, thank you very much. So today we're joined by Chris Billam-Smith, boxer, former world champion, and just a nice guy, as I'm learning today. So today we're going to dive into not only Chris's boxing career, but the man outside of the ring, the family guy, the man that's trying to just build resilience, discipline, growth, personal achievements in and outside the ring. So from being overlooked for the GB squad, to injuries, to setbacks, to losses, like so many fighters, Chris has faced adversity and personal challenges both inside and outside the ring. From beachside shadow boxing to world title nights, Chris shows that real success isn't loud, it's consistent. It's built through choices made in silence, under pressure, and for those you love. This conversation isn't just about boxing, it's about being a man of integrity, a present father, and resilient through life. Consistency is built through success. Well, success is built through consistency. If you define success the right way. So let's get into it. So talk us through that quote. Consistency builds success.
Yeah, obviously my initials are CBS, and I thought I'd think of a consistency sort of got spoken about a lot, and I just thought it up one day, and it sort of embodies everything that I believe in. And I think any success I've had in the ring has been built through being consistent, and that's not consistently performing, but consistently giving effort and consistently turning up, setting high standards, and consistently setting high standards that a lot of the time are unreachable or just out of reach. Yeah. So you're at least pushing towards them. Yeah, that's what consistency builds success is all about.
And do you feel that you've had to be consistent because you felt maybe you've had to do it the hard way compared to others?
I think I've never felt good enough, I think, through especially my early days. And there's a confidence, obviously, when I step through the ropes, but I've done the work. But I always I felt that was my edge. I started boxing at 6. For me, there's kids who've been boxing since 8, 9, 10 years old. So I was already, anywhere between 6 to 8 years behind. So I had to find an edge somewhere, and for me that was doing the extras and consistently doing it.
So when you first stepped foot in a ring at 16, how hard was it playing catch up?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the gym I'm in they're putting me in there with other lads, but I think through the years there was a lad I boxed sort of later on where he'd been boxing or kickboxing from when he was like 10 years old. So and there was a massive gulf in talent there. I mean, a lad in my gym, to be fair, when I first started, he'd had about 6 to 10 fights when I first started, and he was his dad was the coach at one of the gyms that I trained at, and he was phenomenal. So I was always behind him. But it was. I remember his dad actually saying, "Sam, you got to do this to you got to don't take it easy one day, or he's got the potential to be better than you if you don't put in the work, sort of thing. That was something that always stuck with me. And obviously that was just kind of my whole outlook on it, was I just need to keep turning up, keep showing up, and keep putting in the work. And whilst people are having days off, I'm still working.
Quietly confident.
Yeah.
Did you know that you were going to catch these people up?
I guess not, but
you just hoped.
Well, I guess it was. I didn't want to have any regrets. I kind of always had a foresight of, when I'm 30, 40 years old, I don't want to look back and been a coulda, woulda, shoulda sort of person, or if I'd not, if only I'd put in the work, who knows what would have happened. And thankfully, I'll be 35 this year, and I can look back and be very content with where that the work was worth it, and that was all right. I just wanted to live a life with no regrets, I guess.
Yeah. Wow. Mate, you've achieved a hell of a lot. Like, do you ever have moments where you sit there and you really think, wow, what have I achieved in boxing? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's difficult to fully appreciate it, I think, because I'm still in it. And I actually read something not long after I won a world title about there's like a delayed effect. Like, everyone around you sees it instantly, and then it catches up with you a couple of years down the line. I read a quote about it. So it's been 2 years, just over 2 years now. It was 2 years the other day since I won the world title. And I think because I'm still boxing, it's hard to fully just sit back and think, oh yeah, it's amazing what I've done, because I've still got goals. I'm still pushing forward in my career. But I think the other day was nice I watched my ring walk back, and a few of my sort of stories come up on memories and stuff. So it's always nice to go over it, but also I use it as motivation now, because I'm like, right, I'm not world champion at the moment. I need to become world champion again.
When's that going to happen?
Hopefully this year. Hopefully soon. Hopefully my next fight. But the team are working away trying to secure another world title shot. So it's just a waiting game, and just staying fit in the meantime.
You just stay ready.
Yeah. Just keep ticking over, not getting too out of shape. And worst thing is going back into camp and not feeling not feeling fit and feeling sorry for yourself. I need to put in the work. So yeah, nice little run this morning, and we'll push on.
Feeling good.
Yeah.
So what's been your favourite memory in boxing?
It'll be the world title night, because it obviously everything that it encompassed it was just phenomenal. It was at the AFC Bournemouth football stadium, which is a place I had a season ticket when I was 12, 13, 14. So then I used to chant players' names and imagining what that would be like. This is when they were in League Two and League One. So yeah, I remember those days. And the night before the world title fight, we did like a ring walk rehearsal. So I did that, and then I went and sat in my old season ticket seat and just looked at the pitch, and I just thought, this is mad. I was like, there's a ring on the pitch, and it's for me. Like, it's for me to go and win a world title.
It's written, wasn't it?
It was crazy, and just nothing will beat that. Having all I've got goosebumps now just thinking about it. But all the fans, hometown fans there, the amount of people that come up to me since and said, mate, that night of I've had, it's the best night of my life. Well, he stood next to his wife and kid, and I'm like, you should probably put them before me. But I understand it being the best night of my career, but other people's is nice to hear. But the whole town has been amazing, supported me. So that night is just will forever, I think, be impossible to top.
Yeah. How do you top that in your career-wise, like moving forward now?
I genuinely don't think I will, but I think it's important for me to know that. It's the first world title fight. It's my first shot at world title. I won it at the first time of asking against a former gym mate of mine at the stadium. I think that everything that surrounded it, all the little stories that, the mini stories that back up the big story, I think it's going to be impossible to beat. But it's important I know that, otherwise I'm chasing that high. So for me, I was very aware that was it. Even on the night, people were asking, what's next? I said, I'm not talking about it. Like, just let me enjoy. All I'm doing is enjoying it. In every interview, the press conference and everything after, I was just saying, look, I appreciate everyone's going to want to know what's next. But for me, I just want to enjoy this moment, because it won't be beaten.
I imagine it must feel like everything you've done in your career leading up to that moment had all contributed to you winning the title, even down to the moments when you were in the gym training with Lawrence and you self-admittedly put yourself at number 2 in the gym at that time. The amount of training you would have done with him, is it something that actually helped you in the fight to understand his style?
Yeah, for sure. I had all that experience of being in the ring with him, but since he'd left the gym, I'd improved a lot as a fighter and an athlete as well. So I think that was sort of a tool I had, which he didn't know about, because he's just thinking of me in the gym when he was in the gym. But since that time he'd left, it had been about 14 or 15 months. So a lot of growth had been had in that time. And I was, I had a lot of confidence, had some good wins, a good knockout the fight before and stuff. So I was flying high on confidence. And I think... everything, my whole life, all the things I'd done even before I was boxing, all the mental things of trying to find ways to win or get better, all of that those little things I was doing was really important to me, and built towards that moment, built towards building my mindset and being resilient for all the tough times. And I just felt immensely proud.
Do you think he underestimated you?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think there was a way of him not underestimating me, because we'd done so many rounds together. He thought he knew what I was, but I was much better than that, both from a boxing standpoint, but also physically. I changed strength coach during that time, and the stuff I was doing with my new strength coach I was able to do more of the stuff Shane's taught me, because I was better conditioned, I was stronger, having more impact in all my work. So it was like that kind of unlocked all of the work me and Shane had done together. A coach and a fighter's, Shane had taught me so much, and that just helped unlock a little bit more. And we were able to obviously go in there with a good game plan and get the job done.
So how do you prepare mentally for an evening, like a night like that, when it means so much to you? And imagine the excitement and the buzz of, if I do this, I'm not going to top it. This is it. How do you stay grounded in the prep?
I think the only thing that matters is the fight itself, and I'm quite good at compartmentalizing things rather than thinking about the crowd and thinking about what could be next. I've become, friends with George Groves, obviously former world champion himself. I remember he said to me, this isn't just another fight, Chris. Like this, win this fight and change your life. So get zoned in. This was about 8 weeks before the fight, about 6 weeks before the fight it would have been. And then, I just remember him saying that, and I was like, right, I need to really lock in now. Like, this can change mine and my family's life forever. And I'm very grateful for George for that bit of advice. But also, I think all the years of work that me and Shane had put in was really important, and amounted to that. And we'd built such a great relationship and trust, and we knew each other so well. And his corner work in the fight was really good. So all that prep. But I think mentally to prepare for it, I was ill on the fight week. I was really ill. On the Tuesday morning, I woke up at 4 a.m, throwing up. Then I was on the toilet. Couldn't really eat for Tuesday, Wednesday. Tried to eat little bits here and there, but everything I was eating was coming straight out of me. And then my nutritionist was away because he was getting married on the Monday after. So he was in Marbella prepping for his wedding. And I was on the phone to him, like, mate, this is the situation. He's like, right, you try some rice cakes, and just plain rice cakes, see if you can keep them in. And then I was like, just kept them in. So I think that helped me not. I was focusing on all the stuff on fight week, the media workout, the press conference. I was just thinking about, right, let's put on a brave face and be this, be the stoic person I need to be. But really, in the back of my head, I'm like, this is, I'm spacing out here. We're on the pier in Bournemouth, blazing sun. I've been ill, not probably consumed about 500 calories in the last 2 days, and wasn't feeling great.
So you come in way underweight then?
Well, I made the weight easy, and usually, obviously, everyone puts on weight after the weigh-in, but I didn't. But I think I put on about half the weight I normally would, which is a huge amount. And but I just said to myself, at that point, I'm not going to pull out the fight, so I have to, play the hands I'm dealt. Play the hand I'm dealt. So the cards we had weren't great, but I just thought the worst case scenario is I do a very minimal warm up.
Yeah.
and I just give it everything for 36 minutes. And that was kind of my mindset. So, had that. And then the ring walk the night before, the visualization of going through all that. So when I'm in there, the crowd is irrelevant because I've already done this ring walk once, yes, without a crowd, but I've done it and I've visualized it with the crowd and all that sort of stuff. So that helped me prepare massively.
Yeah. So how did you feel in yourself? Like, talk us through the actual fight round by round, energy wise, because of the setbacks with your body moving towards the fight. Like, did you notice a difference compared to other fights?
I was really calm. I've never been so calm for a fight, and I don't know why. Maybe it was because I sort of knew I had to be calm due to the illness, but I was weirdly calm. Maybe it was the experience of having sparred Lawrence, so it almost felt like another spar. Just needed to perform in this spar better than I have done before. But yeah, don't get me wrong. The Friday and Saturday, I could eat, but I still didn't have a massive appetite, which is why I wouldn't have put on as much weight as I would have liked to. So I remember having lunch on the Saturday and just having a chicken burger and chips because I was like, I just need calories, and then had like some sweets. So I was like chicken burger and chips. I was sat around some boxing media, and they were like looking at me like, "You fight for a world title tonight, mate. You can't be eating chicken burger and chips." But in my head, I'm like, right, this is probably going to be my last meal of actual, like, a substantial meal before I have mainly liquids and minimal snacks. So I need it to be like a lot of calories in it. So that was my mindset behind that. So yeah, and then like I said, I was really calm and I knew how I had to play it. I knew the first 3 rounds Lawrence was probably going to win, and then he'd start tiring and he'd try and overperform in a way, so you waste a lot of energy doing that, and that's exactly what happened. So I managed to. I think the knockdowns help because as soon as I start knocking him down, he has points taken off. He gets desperate, so then it's easy to just make him miss and conserve my own energy and use it for when I need it. So it was. I felt, like I said, it was almost like an out of body experience in terms of where my head was at. I was just very focused on the job, and it didn't matter how much energy I did or didn't have. I was going to get the job done.
How long did the buzz last for?
So I'm still living off it.
Still living off it. I mean, you had a crash at all where it's like,
there was
definitely high and then like.
Yeah, definitely later on in that summer. So that was the end of May, and then probably around July, maybe August time, late August, maybe had a bit of a dip and probably living off it too much in terms of probably not just being a dad around the house and a husband around the house like I should have been. I wasn't completely vacant, but I probably could have done a bit better. But yeah, I went, like I said, my nutritionist was getting married on the Monday, so the next morning we were straight on a flight to Marbella to go to his wedding. Went to his wedding on the Monday. My wife and son and my mum, who came over to look after the little man, flew home on the Thursday, and I flew to Barcelona for a stag do the next weekend. So that whole week to me is just wild. I don't drink or anything, but
so how was a stag do if you don't drink?
Yeah. I'm used to it now. It's been 11 years since now. It would have been 9 years then.
I'm 7 weeks.
Yeah,
7 weeks. I'm going on a stag do in 2 weeks.
You drinking or not? No. Fair play.
7 weeks out.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't drink a lot during my amateur career. Sort of out of season in the summer, I would drink, and then so I was used to going out a lot with my mates, and them being drunk and me being sober, me being a designated driver. So I'd done a stag do before sober, so it was good fun, especially still living off the high of the week before of winning a world title. So yeah.
So talk us through some of the lower parts of your career, or even is there like a clear low point?
I think when Lawrence was in the gym, we were in Kent at university, and we were living on the campus there in a house, and it was wake up in our room. There was 6 rooms in this uni house we were staying in. There was no sort of lounge area or anything like that, so we just literally wake up, go downstairs, get breakfast, go back to your room, chill for a bit until it's your slot. I'd go into the gym, which is a 5-minute walk, finish the session, leave, get back to there, have some lunch, back to the gym for the second session, whether that's a run or strength or whatever, come back into the room. It was just so...
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, so Groundhog Day, so monotonous. And Lawrence in the gym at the time, he'd won his world title whilst we were training in that gym. It was a lot of and I was struggling because I wasn't enjoying that time in Kent because of being lonely. I used to get a train up there. It was 4.5 hours there from Bournemouth, so I felt far away from home. My career lockdown happened whilst we were there, so I had a fight cancelled, and then so I had like one fight in 15 months. Lawrence had was winning his world title, and I just felt like number 2 in the gym and felt like a bit of sort of extra piece of furniture. Do you know what I mean? Unwanted furniture in the gym, and I wasn't, but that's how I felt because I was sort of Lawrence's sparring partner rather than looking at after my own career, and I struggled with that. And it wasn't anyone's fault. It was just the level he was at he was steps ahead of me. More experienced, had won the titles, then he'd vacate a title and I'd fight for it, and that was just how it was working. But yeah, it was that was probably the lowest. But sometimes I just really didn't want to go in and sparring. No. So, and I just remember just beating myself up in my own head, just like, and to go in and you just don't perform because you just have no mental energy for whatever reason. A lot of factors, all that I just spoke about. Just literally would go back to when I went back to the house, I'd be sat there on my phone lying on the bed because I didn't have a TV in my room, which looking back I probably should have done because I was just staring at a screen anyway on my phone. So so it's a very strange time for me that, and I really struggled, especially looking back, but at the same time it's what built me and what made me sort of a lot mentally stronger because I've been through it. And like any form of growth, you need that adversity, you need that hardship, and that's how you become resilient.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for that when you're in a gym, a boxing gym, and you've got so much admiration for your coach, and you want the coach to notice you, don't you? And it's how many lads do you think there are in gyms like trying to get the coach's attention because they feel like they're craving it, and they might be hitting a bag and looking around, and the coach is like busy with their favourite. It's heartbreaking, isn't it?
Yeah, but look, Shane wasn't like that. He'd still put the same amount of time into all of us, but Lawrence was fighting for bigger titles, for more money, and he was my weight. And he was, before he joined the gym, he was my target because he was number 1 in the country. So naturally, at the stage of my career I was at, I wanted to fight Lawrence. That was like, in my head, the route I was going. And then he joined the gym and I was like, this has just thrown me completely off here. Okay, now I've got to completely reconfigure all my journey that's in my head, the long-term journey, even though I take it fight by fight. Eventually I'm going to want to fight the best in the country because I want to be the best in the country and then be the best in the world. But it might have been divine intervention how it happened because it all turned out to and sort of accumulated to that one night, and I'm very fortunate that all that happened to give me the night I had.
It seems like that all that emotion that was built there actually became a really vital ingredient for the prep, and like the motivation inside you.
Yeah, for sure.
To like put that chapter to bed and like use it and make sure that it was like it served the purpose.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely did. And I think obviously you don't, it's great looking back in hindsight and seeing that, but
you don't see it at the time.
You don't see it at the time. And sometimes it's kind of what I say to people now. They sort of like, what about these hard times? Like just turn up. Just keep going. And that's what I did. Like, I think every day, even though I didn't like it, I just turned up and I was there, I was at the gym, and I just turned up. And even if I was hating it and not performing well, I was still there. And that's so much better than, because that just builds that routine of going there, regardless of how you feel, rather than if you take a day off or you miss a session, then it's kind of like, okay, well, I can miss sessions. It's almost teaching yourself that I'm only going to train when I feel good. Whereas that's not how you get to the top. So yeah.
And how does that translate to your everyday life?
Yeah, I think I take sort of setbacks or adversity, and I try and flip it in terms of, I use boxing, all the time as a metaphor for life. In terms of, I've had short camps, not perform well, but in my head I'm like, okay, I need to flip this and think, okay, this will make this win even sweeter, and it'll make the feeling of winning after feeling so bad will be much sweeter than if it had all been plain sailing and you expect to win, right? So it's the not the unknown, but just that roller coaster ride of the highs and the lows. And I think the highs are higher when the lows are low. So you just got to try and embrace it, and just channel it into anything. And that's everyday life the same. And same with my consistency builds success mantra, is that goes into fatherhood and being a husband as well, and a human being, because I just want to be the best version of myself in all walks of life, every area of life, whether that's, helping someone on the street or being a good dad and trying to react the right way, which is not always easy when you got a 3-year-old toddler who's
how's that
you in the head.
how's that when you got the transition to fatherhood, with the boxing being such an important part of your life as well?
Yeah, it's difficult, but I'm more family orientated than I am boxing orientated. But because I'm away, in terms of, I know what I have to do in camp. I have to be up there and I have to be away 5 days a week. That's what I've always done, and that is how I've become successful. So when I'm in camp, I'm away 5 days a week, which is not necessarily being the best father I can during camp, because I want to be present. I'm not there, and it's so hard coming back. Like, when the first 3 weeks after my last bout, coming back were just the best 3 weeks of my life. Just me and my son. My son just turned 3 the other day, so he was just coming up to 3. So it was just a phenomenal few weeks of just spending time with him, bonding. He's loving it because he knows I'm home all the time now. He understands. And then it relieves a bit of pressure off my wife, because she's not just single parent, and she's pregnant as well. So, which is obviously difficult. And then, so it's hard to flip that, especially when you're in camp. Even at the weekend, you're still in camp in your head. So it's not like you can, you take him to a birthday party and you're there, like, how he's eating his food and you're taking a bit of cake. Little things like that. Like, they're minor, but it's always in your head. I'm thinking, right, I might have one session to do at the weekend and can't do it on a Saturday morning because I want to be there for his football and our little routine we do on a Saturday morning. So I have to squeeze it in when he goes to bed on a Saturday night, and then it's navigating all that, wrestling in with him at between like 6:30, 7:30, trying to get him to bed, and then he goes down. You're like, okay, now I've got to go for a run. So that's the tough bit. It's minor and it's what needs to be done, but that's the tough bit of juggling, I guess, fatherhood and being a boxer.
Yeah, that must be like conflicting emotions constantly, because you're like, I know I'm doing it for the right reasons. I'm building a legacy here and I'm building a future for me and my family. But at the same time, like, you can't help but miss people, or like feel maybe a little bit guilty that you're not there to support your other half.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
About like gratitude and like how when you're away and you know that your other half is holding the fort, providing and doing all that stuff that you'd like to probably share. How much gratitude do you feel for that?
Look, she's, without someone so supportive like Mia is, I wouldn't have been able to get to the level I'm at, and that's because this is even before we had children. So she's just always been so supportive. Been very, very fortunate to have her by my side. She understands it. It's probably helped our relationship at times because I've been away 5 days a week. So the actual time we spend together is always, most of the time, quality time where we're excited to see each other because we haven't seen each other. You're not just living in the mundane every day, which is natural. And it's trying to, now I'm been home for a little bit, and you can definitely feel it. You end up just routinely doing what you do rather than actually trying to enjoy it and stuff like that, and make time for each other. Where at the weekends when I was home before Frank was around, the little man, like, it was just me and her, and we'd go and do stuff. We'd set up things to do and have fun. And it's in a way it's helped because I think we've been together for 11 years this year. So that's helped, and we still, are very much in love with each other. So very lucky to have Mia. She's an absolute rock.
Yeah, it's nice. And I just had the pleasure of meeting her.
It
was just nice. It's nice to, like, as much as it's I mean, to have a chat with yourself, it's really cool to just see a little bit around, like, what else is going on in people's lives. It's, real honour, actually. It's nice. Thank you.
No, that's you're welcome. And she's always doing. She just loves being busy. But I say loves. She's always busy. But if she can't sit still. Whereas I'm probably different. Whereas, like, I like to do my work and then I like to relax and do my work and relax. So sometimes that clashes. But but it's a good partnership.
Behind every great man, there's a great woman.
Exactly.
No, I can relate, and It's very similar actually, because my wife has been very supportive of what I'm doing here. And when I said to her I was going to spend 2 days at half term when I probably should be at home, like helping looking after my kids, I'm off on a road trip, traveling around, recording podcast interviews because it's what I believe in. And I feel very grateful that she's also believing in what I'm doing, even though at the moment there's no financial reward for what I'm doing. It's just she can see I've got the passion for it and I believe in it, like long term. So I can really relate to that. But on the flip side, I'm like missing them as well.
Yeah,
so it's nice to experience that emotion of I can't wait to get home and spend time with my family. And
you're looking forward to it.
Really looking forward to it. Yeah, that's what life's all about.
Absolutely, absolutely.
If you're looking for a space where you can connect with like-minded people, come together for support and learn from each other, then my free Shapes of Resilience Facebook community is the place for you. It's built on the belief that all ships rise in a high tide. Inside, you'll find a completely free 4-day free course designed to help you explore goal setting, build intrinsic motivation and discipline, and dive into physical activity, nutrition, sleep, connection, stress management, and balance. If this sounds like the community you've been looking for, then head into the link in the show notes and join us today. Reward for what I'm doing. It's just she can see I've got the passion for it and I believe in it, like long term. So I can really relate to that. But on the flip side, I'm like missing them as well. So it's nice to experience that emotion of I can't wait to get home and spend time with my family. And
you're looking forward to it.
Really looking forward to it. Yeah, that's what life's all about.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Nice. Let's check. So safe to say, the two sports that you've been the most passionate about in your life are football and boxing, two very different sports. One's clearly a team game, one's completely solo. Like, what is it that you love about each sport, and what is it that maybe you don't like about the different sports?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing I liked about boxing is I've done a lot of team sports, football mainly, but hockey as well. And I think with the individuality of boxing, I had more control, whereas you could have the best game of your life in football and still lose. So, but at the same time, winning together as a team is special. And I have a great team around me in boxing. And although I'm the one in the ring, celebrating in the hotel, sat in the hotel room after, eating pizza and chatting and stuff is some of my favourite memories. Yeah. So I think although, yes, I'm the one in the ring, I think if you went back to hotel room on your own, it would be share it. Yeah, you wouldn't have anyone to share it with. So
does it feel like it's when you win?
Yeah, absolutely.
We won.
Yeah, absolutely. I think especially the Lawrence fight because he'd left Shane. Obviously won a world title under Shane and he had his reasons for moving. He moved countries. I think he even wanted Shane to still be his coach, but it's the first time Shane's ever boxed one of his old fighters, who was a massive favourite, who he'd trained and knew how dangerous he was. He's one of the best fighters, and if not the number one in the world at the time. He was either number one or number two in the world at the time. So for me to go in there as an underdog, like I had sort of nothing expected me in my career. And for us to go and do that and achieve what we did, it was a really, really special moment for us as a team because they'd had a lot of adversity themselves over the year as a family, the Wigan family. They lost Danica, who was Shane's sister and Barry's daughter, and Barry and Sandra's daughter, and Jake's involved, Shane's brother. So I'm very close with the family, and I'd seen them lose their obviously their loved one, and that was hard. That was actually lost her. She was in hospital when I boxed Richard Riakporhe the first time. So it feels like we win together. So you had the Lawrence fight where obviously he'd left, and from a boxing standpoint, it was a nice gym for us. But the Richard Riakporhe rematch, which was at Selhurst Park, he's a home fighter. I'm a massive underdog again, even though I was the world champion. That felt like a really sweet victory because one, we chalked off the loss on my record, but also Danica had passed away 3 days after that fight, and she was in hospital at the time, and the family were with me that night when it was obviously didn't know at the time, but one of Danica's final days. So I remember thinking at the time, like I'd let them down in the time where they most needed it.
Oh man.
And then, so for me to get that win, you know, and Shane said it in interviews since, I didn't know he felt like this before the Richard Riakporhe second fight, but he said, you know, I've always wanted to get that one back himself, because he felt like he probably wasn't as present as he would like to have been for my training camp for the first fight, and completely understandably.
Yeah, life happens.
Yeah, life happens. His sister's in hospital, and they were really close, and she was a great woman. Yeah, and so for me, I remember just Shane said it to me in the ring after, and I'd already planned to dedicate that win to them, family, and Danica. And Shane actually said it to me first. He said, "Mate, I'm so glad we got that one back. Like the first one, like Danica passed just after it." So yeah, it was a really, really special night and a really, really special win. And like I said, that's the bond I have with the whole family and me and Shane in the partnership. It's an individual sport, but there's such a massive team and family environment, especially in our gym. So yeah, it's nice when we win together.
That's beautiful. What was the atmosphere like in Selhurst Park when you're boxing as the away? It's his stadium.
Yeah, it was funny. I remember doing my ring walk, and on my ring walk, I always face away from the ring for the start of the entrance tune, and I'm stood there in front of their main stand, like there where all the fans are, and I'm looking at them, and they're all booing me, and I'm just staring at them all, and then I see two kids are sticking their fingers up at me, and I'm just thinking, well, like give it an hour, and you'll be a fan. And did my ring walk, and obviously it was funny because although they're Crystal Palace fans more than they're Richard Riakporhe fans, my mates all told me after, they were like, we had these Palace fans, Riakporhe fans in front of us, and then in round 10, one of them just stood up and started going, "Oh, Chris Billam-Smith," and started chanting. So he just started laughing his head off, and I was like, "That's brilliant." So. And I love being the underdog. I love the adversity. I love the pressure, and I just try to embrace it and think it's all the sweeter when you win and you overcome those things. And I think that's kind of how I've always been.
I think people can't help but not buy into that as well. And like people that probably might not have seen you box before, when they see you live and you're putting everything in and you're fighting like a warrior, like even people that were there to support the other guy, there's nothing about you as a person or a fighter that people can't not like love when they see.
Well, thanks, man. It's very, very kind of you. But I guess for me, that's it. I just give it everything and try and be as good a person as I can.
So yeah, let's talk about something I feel as well really strongly about with what I'm doing, where I could take shortcuts and do the whole controversial stuff and try and get the viral video by being controversial and maybe manipulating what I'm doing or targeting people that might help the show to grow, or the podcast to grow, but not in the way that sits right with me. So, and I know that's potentially something that you feel with your career as well. So how much harder do you feel you've had to do it by not taking those easy wins and going for the controversial viral approach and just being humble and true to yourself?
Yeah, nothing worth having comes easy, right? So in terms of fights, I've had hard fights, and they've all played an integral part in building me as a fighter and building my resilience. Excuse me, but when it comes to the trash talk and stuff, it's just not me. It's just not. No, I have a bit of back and forth with people, but it's only when they have a go and they say something. I think actually once I put one tweet out about Tommy McCarthy, but because I was like, no one's fighting me. It's the perfect fight for me. He's European champion. And then I just put one tweet out saying something along the lines that I'd smash his head in or something in terms of boxing terms. And then I got the fight. So that was the only time I'd done it, and it worked to my favour. But it's not throwing tables. It's not saying I'm going to give someone brain damage. It's not. People knew the context and what I was saying. It's not authentic, and I think there's a lack of authenticity in boxing. So I guess for me, it was going away from that and trying to be the opposite and use that as a strength to get people to support me that I actually like because they like what I'm about, so they must be similar fans, have a similar fan base to how I feel. And you're not obviously always going to get different people from all walks of life supporting you, especially in a town like Bournemouth where you've got so many different types of people that go to the football, for example, and a lot of that fan base has supported me. Yeah, it's everyone I've always met who's been supporter or even a supporter of someone else has been very nice to me and stuff like that. And that's probably because I've never done anything out of, to annoy them. Like a lot of people come up to me, oh, yeah, you beat my boy Richard Riap, or like so that's part like Palace fan. Like my barber in London, he's a Palace fan, and he was talking to me after I went there for the first time after the Richard fight, and we were chatting and stuff about that. So yeah, it's just the way I am, and I think it's my dad and has always taught me good manners, how to treat people, and that's kind of just how I've been.
Yeah, and how much more important do you think that is now that you're like former world champion and in the public eye? Like you're a role model, aren't you? So how much more important do you think it is for people that are in the public eye?
Yeah, I think so. Especially in boxing, there's not a lot of necessarily great role models or people calling people out for bad stuff or just setting a as good an example as they can. There's always controversy, especially with the people who are the biggest in the media,
hype,
because because it builds hype, and for some reason that's rewarded is the bad stuff. So I get why people do it from a business point of view, but I've just never been able to do it. But I think there needs to be more good role models, and I thought if I can just focus on my work, and hopefully anyone that looks up to me will be. I don't want someone saying, "Oh yeah, I'm inspired by Chris," and then going and saying stuff that I said, or which is derogatory or anything like that. So I didn't want that legacy to be like that. So I think just be as good a role model as we can.
I think sometimes you don't realise how much good you're doing, and you might not see the rewards of that until like much later down the line, where there's younger boxers that are seeing that now. They go off on their path, and maybe 5-6 years they're boxing for world titles, and because of the way you're acting now, or the way you're being, that's the path they'll choose to follow as well.
Yeah, maybe, hopefully,
generations to come.
Hopefully,
yeah. So when you're in a gym and you see the young lads coming in, like, what's that like when you know they're looking up to you as former world champion, and it's knowing that they're looking at you thinking, I want to be that one day?
Yeah, it's nice. From around here, I wouldn't really have anyone like that when I was in the amateurs or anything. So I guess in a way I thought, okay, I could maybe become that person because I was so driven. And I thought it's nice to have people. We're human beings. We have an ego, right? And that's a form of rubbing my ego or whatever, or filling my ego up a little bit. So I think I like that. I like the fact that people want to achieve what I've achieved and believe they can. It's not necessarily them doing it, but it's given belief in that someone local can go and do, from this town, can go and do big things and keep their integrity and do this, do that, and the other, and be a good person. Which I mean, especially now as a father, is what I think about the most. I just think about trying to be the man I want my son to be, and that's easier said than done. But it's that's kind of how I look at it now.
So touching on fatherhood, so before I left the cafe, I spoke to Mia, and she's given me a question to ask you on her behalf. So her question is, you're expecting your second child, and her question is, once the newborn comes, how would you anticipate and how would you plan on dealing with the inevitable sleepless nights, and what have you learned from going through that experience last time?
Go to camp so I can sleep. That's probably why she's asking. No, I think it's I want to be present, not mainly for her. To have a very, very energetic toddler and a newborn is going to be hard. So I want to be here to support her when the baby comes, which may delay my career. And I think unless given a very good opportunity, I'm happy to delay my career rather than taking an in-between fight. I'd rather go straight for a world title, which I believe I earned from previous fights. Former world champion, winning my last fight. I'm highly ranked with all the governing bodies, top 4 with all of them, number 1 with the WBO, number 2 with the IBF. So I think I've earned that right to maybe have a break, because in my career I've never really thought about having a break, in terms of I've always planned a break immediately after a fight, knowing that I'm going to be fighting 4 months after I get back off that break. So that's how I've always looked at it. Now this time slightly different. I've had my fight. We're not going to get one likely before the baby comes. So I'm like, okay, well, it's not right waiting for the baby to come and then having a fight. It's if I have a fight 3 months after the baby comes, then I'm going to be away for 5 days a week for the first 3 months of the baby's life, when Mia's got a toddler and a newborn going through labour, which I saw last time. Like it's incredible what women have to go through. So I want to be there to support her and the family, but I think the most important thing is be supporting her in that and making sure that we're settled and we have a good enough routine. We have a support network between us where we can feel comfortable, rather than me going away, me being stressed about work, coming home, trying to juggle everything. But like I said before, that's still mulling over in my head. I've got a fight coming up. So yeah, definitely need to sort of break it up, because if I'm in camp, I'm all in, and if I'm at home, I want to be all in. I don't want to be 50-50 in both. So yeah, it's going to be difficult, and I think it will depend on what we get offered. But yeah, we've chatted a little bit about it and options that we have in case we get offered a huge fight and stuff. So yeah, we'll wait and see. But mainly, I want to be there to support her more than anything else.
Yeah, and I think even though they clearly newborns don't have a clue what's going on, but I think like not being present, like you miss out on that early bonding that just naturally happens just by being there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful.
And I think if I look back at my son's life, he's 3 years old. I was away for 5 days a week for the first for 6 of the first 10 weeks, because I got offered a fight 4 weeks after he was born and had to take it. Then I had a little bit of time with him. Then I was away again towards the end of that year. But I was also in a growth period where I needed to be in the gym and keep learning, not just have a training camp. Where we're settled and got good enough gyms around here I can train at and stuff. So it's just about staying fit and doing all my base stuff here. So when I go to camp, I can just focus on the boxing and zone in on that. And yeah, I think that's important. But like I said, I've been away from my son a lot during his 3 years of his life. Since he was born, I've had, how many fights is that now? Probably 6 or 7 fights. So that's, yeah, I think 6-7 fights, and that's been since the day he was born. So when you look at that, 6-7 fights, that's 3 months at a time. I'm away five days a week. So 21 out of 36 months, I've been away for most of the week. So it's difficult to build that bond and build a relationship. And we have one for sure, but he's very clingy at times to his mum, which is understandable.
Yeah, I can relate, and I went through many periods of my life doing the same thing, working lots and lots of hours. But looking back, it's all like it serves a purpose. And you got to do what you got to do and make decisions. And I feel like you're quite good at just looking forward.
Yeah.
Around like accepting whatever it is, like decisions you've made.
Yeah.
And they've clearly, like they've paid off in your career. So how much harder do you think it would have been if you'd have made those sacrifices and not achieved your goals like that?
That's it. And it's, like I said, I kind of always wanted to have no regrets. And thankfully, we've got to this stage of my career, and I don't have any regrets of. I've given it everything, and tried lots of different ways of everything. And I think always searching for more and looking for more in my career. And I think that's just how I've always been. And now it's a slightly more family based outlook on life, but it's it's important to sort of separate the two from work and family.
Just cover some injuries and setbacks, if that's okay. And we'll talk about missing out on the GB squad in the amateurs for the Olympics. How tough was that?
Yeah, really difficult. I really thought, I mean, I missed the Olympics in 2016 in terms of getting on the squad, but I had assessments after the Olympics had finished. No tell, I won before, and then I got to the third assessment where they choose whether you're on or off the squad, and I was off, and that was a week before Christmas. And then I was like, right, what am I going to do? That was tunnel vision on that. I had no backup plan other than, okay, I'll try and go pro. And and then thankfully I was sparring a lot with George Groves at the time, and he was training under Shane, and thankfully he said yes, and the rest is history. But yeah, it was difficult to deal with. But I didn't ask Shane to train me for 3 or 4 months, so in that period I was really in limbo of what was going to be next if Shane said no. In terms of, I wanted to turn pro, but I wanted to be with a well-renowned coach. So yeah, I think that was a difficult time, and it kind of like, okay, well, it was a massive fork in the road in my life, and had Shane had said no, I don't think we wouldn't be having this conversation now. No. I genuinely don't believe that. So I don't believe that I would have.
Do you feel you deserved the spot on the squad?
Yeah, I did, but the other 2 lads, there was 3 of us, one had beaten me twice. The other lad had beaten him, but I'd never boxed the other lad.
Right.
But in sparring, I was getting the better of the other lad. I felt up GB. But yeah, it was that's just how it works, and I just felt like, that was it. And I've been told by coaches since that, you know, they thought I should have been on the squad, and other coaches got ruled against them and stuff like that. And I've had the lad who got in, who I was sparring up there for sparring and stuff, and I've achieved more than I have in my career, albeit he was in the GB setup for longer. But he's a nice lad. Nothing against him. It's not his choice. But yeah, I felt like I really thought I was getting on. So when I got the letter through, I'm opening it excited, and then boom, no, you're not on the squad. So yeah, it was difficult, but just got to move forward and keep improving.
Yeah. Hey, what's the plan post boxing?
I think for me, it's I want to be involved in helping athletes and young people in some way, whether that's actually 1-to-1 or just making stuff for them to teach them how to deal with it, deal with adversities and things like that in life and in boxing. But yeah, I don't know exactly yet, but I want to be involved in sport in one way or another. I think helping young athletes and making sure they've got the right setup around them in terms of S&C coach, nutritionist, mindset coach, and, you know, psychology side of things, which is massively underlooked, I believe, in sport. I think it's everything in elite sport. To get to the top, you have to be mentally on it. You have to deal with so many ups and downs, and that's something that's massively overlooked in all sport. And so yeah, I love the psychology behind sport, but also life in general. Yeah. And I think it's everything really. And you look at any high achiever in their field, then I think that's what separates them from the good and the great is up in their heads. So love to get into that side of things and helping young people in one way.
Nice. What advice would you have to somebody that's put everything into a fight and they didn't get the result that they wanted, and they're left at maybe a fork in the road where they're not sure whether to carry on or not, and they feel like the whole world's come crashing down? What advice would you have to a young boxer that's just doubting themselves?
Well, if they've given it everything, I guess you've got to be proud of that. To give it everything takes a lot. Not a lot of people win and they don't give it everything, and they're not that bothered about when they've won because they haven't given that much. Whereas all you can do is give it everything, and you need to be proud of that. I gave it everything against Zerda Ramirez and lost my world title in a unification fight, headlining a show, but I gave it everything I could that night, and although it wasn't enough, I've learned from it. I need to go away and improve, and that's just my outlook. If any defeat I've ever had, whether that's even fights where I've in the amateurs where I thought I'd won and I haven't got a decision, I go away and I go, why did the judges see it in his way? I'm like, okay, I didn't do enough to fully convince them. If I'd stopped him, the judges are taken out of it. So that has always been my mindset. I need to give myself the best possible chance to get a decision or not need a decision.
Yeah.
So always looking for that extra edge in terms of taking the uncontrollables out of the question. You can't control the judges. They're uncontrollable, but you can take them out of the question by winning by knockout. So that was my mindset. Okay, well, I should have won by knockout. Why didn't I? I need to get better. So it just always comes down into that circle and that mindset.
Beautiful. And is that something that's happening like during the fights as well? Like you're assessing how far ahead you are, and actually, am I the weight boxer here? If so, I might not be far enough ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way I fight is just giving it everything. I don't really have. I'll have a round off. Well, tell her that I did that in the first Richard fight. I think I was like, after the 6th round, I remember thinking I must be like, in my head, I was like, I'm 5-1 up here, and I think in the corner they might have had me 5-1 up because they had me winning the fight at the end of the fight. And then round 7, I sort of took my foot off the gas. He pushed on. There was a knockdown scored, which I don't believe should have been a knockdown, but if I'd not been having the round off, would that have happened? So it's my first 10-rounder, first sort of 50-50 fight. So a lot of experience was gained, and I've learned from that, and I don't really take rounds off. I haven't really taken a round off since. Not without it being for a reason of, or a tactical reason in terms of not that I just having a round rest where I'm not giving it everything.
Yeah.
Whereas you can have a round rest but still try and win the round, or at least do stuff which is taken away from the opponent tactically. Whereas in that fight, it wasn't like that. It was just, okay, I need to just let him win this round sort of thing, rather than try and still win the round but tire him out or make him miss a lot or do this, do that. So yeah, it was taking a round off for no other reason than to give myself a rest, whereas I wouldn't do that again. But that was just an experience because I've never been 10 rounds before. So yeah, I felt so ahead. I thought, okay, if I have 1 round off and he wins it, that's fine. I've got the next 3 rounds which I can push on. I know I'm fit enough. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that round cost me the fight.
Do you think you put too much thought in sometimes when you're in the ring, as opposed to having more just belief in yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a massive overthinker in terms of, okay, well, he does this, I need to do this, rather than being a bit more of an instinctive fighter where it just you get in there, okay, he throws that and you naturally make it miss because your head processes things quicker than if you're just thinking. So, yeah, I think that's definitely an area where I could be more instinctive.
Have you tried, or have you considered trying meditation before a fight? In a flow state where you like...
Yeah, I do bits of breath work and meditation and visualization, I guess, is my meditation. Not necessarily actual meditation as what I think meditation is, but definitely a lot of breath work. I have a breath work coach who has helped me massively, and he sort of works around the psychology and stuff as well. So there's massive, I guess, overlaps with traditional meditation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that getting in that flow state was something I was definitely in for the world title fight at the stadium. I just and the same again at both stadium fights when I'm against Lawrence and Richard. It was like that. Probably in my last fight as well, I probably felt quite well in a flow state and just letting things happen. Right, sometimes you can overthink it. Right, this is the shot I need to land, and then you get in the ring and you can't land that shot for whatever reason, and then you're just like, well, what do I do now? So yeah, the best performances always come from when they've been just in that flow state.
Yeah, where you feel like you've got to the end of the round, like, where am I? Like, you don't recall a single thought during the round.
Yeah.
And I had a podcast last night with a guy who does Brit car racing, and they're really long, drawn-out races. And he says for the hour and a half to 2 hours he's racing, he doesn't have a single thought because he's just feeling the car, and he's driving at such extreme speeds that he can't afford to think. He just goes. It feels like if you were to find a strategy to move into that flow state all the time.
Yeah, I think for me it's more in sparring than training. And when I get in the ring, in my head I'm unbeatable. But in training, you get anxious about sparring sessions. You overthink things. Am I fit enough? Am I this? Am I good enough? And that's just what happens. But in the ring, you most of the time I'm in a flow state, and the performances just happen.
Yeah. So when you're sparring now or post winning the world title, do you feel like people try harder to get one over on you and inspiring sometimes because they want to go away and say, I've got the better of him?
Probably, yeah, probably. But I think we've always had it in our gym anyway, because it's a well-renowned, very, gym, very well-renowned. So when people come over, they love trying to get one over on us, especially in our gym. So
the sparring quite often feel like just this is a fight.
Yeah, but essentially it is in terms of effort needed and ability needed. But I think sometimes you can switch off against people you might have sparred before, and you're better than them, or you can do this and do that with them. So you switch off almost not to level the playing field, but to just there's that lack of motivation, I guess, because it's like, well, what am I gaining from this? But that's my own fault. I need to flip the mindset, go, what can I gain from this? What do I need to work on?
Do you ever have any remorse for going a bit hard on people that are maybe not at the right level?
I don't think I've ever... I've had times in the gym where I've dropped people or whatever, but not necessarily because they're not my level, but then they're not miles below, and I'm not taking the mick. We're both trying to take each other's heads off. So, and I just was the one who was slightly better. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I've never really had it where you're miles better. I'd never take the mick with someone that's maybe an amateur coming in and trying to learn, and they're nervous and all those things. I wouldn't try not to take the mick. And seen it happen.
When's the last time you sparred at that with like someone like that? Is that?
I don't know.
Long
time ago. Because now I bring in my sparring partners. They're very specific to who I'm boxing. So you want someone similar height, same stance, throws the same shots. If you got a hard punch, you want them to be a hard puncher. And it's the sparring's very tailored now. Yeah.
We've actually shared rounds, I think, as well with Harry.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I boxed when I boxed amateur at the Apollo.
Yeah.
Harry was 15 at that point, so it was lucky.
Still a big lad?
Lucky, yeah, because he still held his own against all the lads. And we were all in our 20s, and he was holding his own then. Getting in the ring, he's fearless, absolutely fearless.
Yeah, he always has been. I remember me, I think he came in to spar Daniel Dubois, or he was in the same gym, I think, as who was in the same gym as? Maybe Derek Chisora. So big, heavy, well-known heavyweights. But yeah, I sparred him, he's one tough bloke, tough man, and it was good work. Yeah,
always comes forward.
Yeah. Always ready to, always smiling when you hit him with a good shot, and you're like, "What? That was a really good shot." Don't just smile at me. But yeah, he's a good lad.
Nice, mate. Right. So, final question. So, how much inspiration and how much of your character has been built by seeing the adversity that other people have gone through that have been close to you?
Yeah, massive. Like I spoke about earlier with the McGuigan family and what they've gone through, and trying to be there as much as I could to support them, and also makes you realise that your problems aren't as bad, although they might still be valid. They're not as bad, so it kind of takes the edge off them. I remember watching even a documentary on Golovkin years ago where he was ill going into a fight, and I remember that when I was ill going into my fight, and he still got in there and won and got the job done. And I just had that mindset of that's what champions do. They overcome adversity. That's what winners do. That's what world champions do. And I think that's important, to just give it everything despite the adversity. And regardless of the actual outcome of a fight, for example, just going through the adversity and still getting in the ring and competing and turning up is still a massive achievement. And I think that sometimes gets overlooked, especially in a sport like boxing, where it's win or lose.
You want it to be perfect. Like, I'm not getting in unless I'm 100%. Well, actually, like, you might miss opportunities to learn something about yourself.
I've never, ever got in the ring 100%, I don't think. I think the Lawrence fight camp was the best camp I had by a mile. And then I got ill on fight week, and I was like, I couldn't be any more prepped for this fight. And then I got ill on fight week, and I was like, right, it's just another camp, not perfect, but it doesn't matter. The fight's still happening. Yeah. The job still needs to. You don't know, the other guy's not perfect. It's very rare in elite sport where people are performing 100%, all the time. So there's always niggles because you're pushing your body to the limit. So, but yeah, the adversity around is I've seen, and I always take inspiration off that. And the people who have plain sailing careers, I'm not interested in. Really, they got this, they won this, okay, well, what happens when they face adversity? So that's always a question mark of anyone new who joins the gym. What happens when they face adversity? How do they come through that? So yeah, it's and it's happened in our gym when I was ill for my world title fight. about 2 weeks later, Ellie Scotney from my gym was fighting, and she had a world title fight, her first world title fight, and she was ill a week before that. So she was like, "What?" Or a couple of weeks before. So yeah, she was just like, "Oh, if Chris was ill, so
Really?
so she took inspiration
really rate her,
from me.
didn't
Yeah, she's phenomenal, best in the world at her weight. And a lovely, lovely human being.
That's nice. It's nice to have that connection with your teammates, and it feels like you really want others to do well as much.
Yeah,
as yourself.
Absolutely. And I think post career, I'll be involved in the gym and trying to help anyone else who's in the gym, anyone coming through in their careers. And obviously, they're all a lot younger than me now. I'm 35 this year, and most of them are 25 or under. So got 10 years on them, and I've been
You've got the wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been in that gym a long time, and I know when they're going through certain things, certain periods. So I always offer my word if they want it.
Yeah, beautiful, mate. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you for the patience. It's been a pleasure and an honour. So thank you very much.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.